Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Brittany Jennings with the Seniors Blue Book, and this morning we are live with the team over at Mountain View Media. Good morning, Jeremy, and good morning, Jane.
Good morning.
How are you this
Brittany.
morning?
Good.
Very good. Well, I'm excited to have you. I know we really, our services complement each other, and you guys do amazing things with website creation and digital media and all sorts of things that we're going to learn about. And today we're going to talk about internet marketing, branding. So I'm glad you're here, and I think a lot of people would love to hear your story, Jane, just about how the company got started. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how the company has come to be.
Well, thanks, Brittany. So I started the company 19 years ago this month in Arizona, and I was a cartoonist, graphic designer, and then started doing PR, all forms of PR and marketing and advertising. And then back in, after the crash in '08, we went digital. So our mainstay right now is still branding, web, and internet marketing. So it's definitely evolved. It's gotten a lot easier, but a lot more competitive now too.
So what kind of, like if somebody came to you and said, what services do you provide, or how could you help me? What would you generally tell somebody who is looking for your assistance?
I would definitely say internet marketing. So a great online presence and then market online. So, and even before this pandemic, I would have said that. So for sure now though.
Now more than ever, right? It
Yeah.
seems like, I know with us, like we've totally pivoted. We were already kind of dabbling in it, but we're pivoted now to this type of platform, of course, because social distancing. But it's been really great for us, and I'm excited to learn from you and from Jeremy this morning about more about internet marketing. And I know a lot of our partners and professionals that are out there, this is huge for us. And right now, this is really how we are conducting our business, because it used to be our faces and our bodies physically at these communities or different places out in the community to get business. So I'll kind of hand the ropes over to you and Jeremy and let us learn about internet marketing and branding.
Well, thank you. Thanks for this opportunity. So I do own the company and partnered up with Jeremy a couple years ago, and he's just amazing. I'm going to introduce him to you. His name is Jeremy Petty. He's a digital marketing executive and consultant for Mountain View Media. He has over 10 years experience in digital marketing, and he's also an amazing website designer and developer. So I do want to say that as well. He has a BFA in web design, interactive media from the Art Institute of Tampa. He's worked with businesses of all sizes, from startups to franchises, enterprises, increasing revenue through optimized internet marketing campaigns and strategies. One of his most notable accomplishments is taking a small toy company with the annual revenue of about 500,000 to 3 million in just 3 years. So in the 2 years that I've worked with him, it's just been amazing, the strategies and some of the campaigns that he's come up with. So very, very thankful to be working with Jeremy. And with that said, I'm going to hand over the reins to him, and he can tell you a little bit about web and internet marketing.
Thank you, Jane, for that introduction. So I hope everybody's had their morning coffee or their morning source of caffeine, because this presentation is just jam-packed with a lot of information. And I know we've only got about 30 minutes, so I'm going to go through it a little bit on the quick side. But at any time, if you guys do have any questions or you want some more clarifications on something, feel free to reach out to us. You can give us a call at 941-417-2720, or you can go to mountainviewmedia.com and contact us through there. For everybody in attendance today, we're also giving away a free marketing consultation. So it's a 1-hour consultation. It includes a website technical SEO audit of your website, so we can check the health, We'll go over what your growth goals are for your business, where you're at in your current life cycle of your business. And then we'll also put together an action plan for you so that you know what your next steps should be in order to reach your growth goals. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump on in. So today we're going to be talking mostly about internet marketing and how to generate leads so that you can grow your business. So Jane already introduced me and she talked about the business. So we're going to jump right into the services that we offer. Now, we do offer much more than this, but this is sort of our 4 main services that we do offer. So we offer website design and maintenance, Google advertising, Facebook advertising, and search engine optimization. These are kind of like the big 4 when it comes to internet marketing. Of course, you also have things like email marketing, retargeted marketing, and a ton of other types of digital marketing, but these tend to be the 4 biggest revenue makers. So first, let's talk about website design, and this is going to be your digital storefront. So everything that you do online starts with your website, especially with a digital marketing campaign, because the whole point of a digital marketing campaign is to send people to your website. So everything is going to start with the website. And the goal of your website is not only just to provide information to visitors, but it's also to convert those visitors into paying customers. A lot of people will forget about this second part, especially those small business owners that want to try and do it themselves. So it's very important to remember that your website is a marketing tool. You know, it's not just there to provide information, but you also want to use it to convert those visitors into paying customers. Your website can be your #1 salesperson. You know, it never goes on vacation. It never calls out sick. It sometimes gets sick, but that's why you've got an agency like us that takes care of it and knows how to get it back up and running whenever it does go down. But it's available and working for you 24/7, 365, and it doesn't take a commission, right? So why not invest into a professional website for your business? So what makes a good website? There are a few core things that we look at when we design a website. You know, so we make sure that the website is modern, it's scalable, it's speed optimized, it's responsive, it clearly communicates what you do, it clearly communicates your USP, it's optimized for conversions, and essentially what we're ensuring is that your website is a good user experience. So let's go ahead and just break these down real quick. So a modern website. You know, it's common practice to have your website redesigned every 3 to 5 years to keep up with modern trends. Now, this doesn't mean that you need a complete redesign of your website, but at least give it a little facelift every 3 to 5 years, again, just to keep up with modern trends. Your website is or will be the first impression of your business for the majority of your customers. The visitor will perceive an outdated website as an outdated business. And this is even more important nowadays because everything is going online, especially with the pandemic. You know, there's not a lot of face-to-face marketing, if any, going on right now. But even back when you did do face-to-face marketing, I mean, I remember going to chamber events where there's hundreds of businesses there. You know, so you're meeting hundreds of people handing out business cards. You won't necessarily remember everybody that you talk to, you know, but you go home that night or you go, you know, the next day and you start going through business cards and your first impression of that business, unless you remember the person that you talked to, is going to be based on their website. You know, so if you look at the example on the right here, you can see a before and after. So you can see the picture on the left depicts the website, and it looks very old. It's almost like, you know, Web 1.0, where it's like an HTML table. It looks outdated. If somebody was to come to this website today, you know, they would think, is this company still around? Are they still relevant? You know, but a website on the right, that's what a user is expecting a modern website to look like, you know, and it shows that you're still in business and that you are modern. Scalability. So when designing your website, it's important to think about the long-term goals of your business. These goals will ultimately include digital marketing. So building your website on a scalable system like WordPress allows you to seamlessly grow your website with your business. This eliminates the need to implement new systems every time you redesign your website. So for a lot of small business owners, they want to try and take the do-it-yourself route. And with a lot of these people, they choose things like Squarespace or Wix or Webflow to build their websites. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting to do it yourself and using these platforms. But if you look at where you want your business to be, 2, 3 years down the road, obviously, you want your business to grow. And with that growth comes marketing campaigns, and in particular, digital marketing campaigns. And usually that includes an SEO campaign. Now, Squarespace, Wix, Webflow, these platforms, they provide very basic tools. They allow you to get a website up and running really quickly, but they don't really have very good integration tools. Some of them are starting to get some SEO tools implemented, but they're extremely basic compared to what you can get with WordPress. And the reason that we build all of our websites with WordPress is because it is scalable. It's extremely robust. It has, I believe it's 70% of the market share for websites right now. You can build any type of website on there. The toy company website that Jane had mentioned earlier, that was built on WordPress, and that did, by the time I was done with it, it was making $3 million a year. So you can build anything that you want on WordPress. It scales with your business, and you never have to, switch to a new platform. Speed optimization. So users today have very, very short attention spans. So you need to make sure your website loads as fast as possible. Long loading times will end up with the users leaving your website and going to your competitor's website. Up to 3 seconds is the ideal time for a web page. Obviously, you want to make that number as small as possible, but 3 seconds is usually the industry average. So websites with shorter loading times are also favored by Google than other sites. And this gets more into the SEO bit, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But these are some tools that we use to measure website loading speed. So we use GTmetrix. It's free. You can go on there and put in your own website and see what the stats are for it. But it'll show us what the fully loaded time is, the total size of a web page. Again, we want to try and get this as low as possible, especially because a lot of people are viewing your website on mobile devices, so they're using mobile data. So you want to make that page size as small as possible so that it loads quickly for those users. And it also shows us how many requests are being made. So we can even get into what's called a waterfall diagram here. And this shows us every single item that your web page has to load in order to be fully loaded. And we can see in this particular example, there's just one item that is causing it to have a very, very long loading time. So this is something that we look at when we build your website to make sure that it is loading as fast as possible. A responsive website. So having a responsive website ensures that no matter what device a user is looking at on your website from, it looks good and functions properly. There are more users browsing the web on mobile devices than there are from desktops. And the current good practice when it comes to web design is to have a mobile first mindset. Now, if you're a B2C company, then the majority of your customers are going to be coming from mobile devices. However, if you're a B2B company, the majority of your visitors will be coming from desktop. So it's still a good practice to think about mobile first, no matter what industry you're in. But it's definitely, it depends on whether you're a B2B or B2C. Your website needs to clearly communicate what you do. So make sure that the user knows exactly what you do. Don't make them guess. All right, so if you build custom pools, make it obvious that you design and build pools and are not a pool supply company. You may offer supplies to your customers, but what you're trying to sell are custom built pools. And this just comes from a previous client that I've had in the past, where there was a company that built custom pools, very beautiful pools, but when you went to their website, it seemed like it was an e-commerce shop to buy pool supplies. So when somebody was coming to their website, they weren't getting very many leads to get a custom pool built. They were just getting purchases for these supplies. And they were wondering, well, why am I not getting any leads for custom pools? So you have to make sure that your website is clearly communicating what you do. You never want to make a user have to guess what you do or what you're providing. Clearly communicating your USP. So why should a customer choose you over one of your competitors, right? Do you have special incentives for customers? Do you have a unique system or process that no one else has? A website is a perfect place to flaunt your USP because that's what's going to sell your products or your services. And then the last thing that we take a look at when we design websites is making sure that it's optimized for conversions. So optimized website design is the overarching design philosophy that we have when the goal is to convert your visitors into paying customers. Whether that visitor goal is to collect their contact information for leads, or if it's to make them or take a purchase on your website, the philosophy stays the same. And we can think of this as converts, right? So a clear call to action, you want to make it clear what you want that user to do. You want to have a clear offer. You want to have a narrow focus. So, if you have, again, we can take the pool builders for an example. If they're on a page for custom built pools, the last thing you want to do is have a bunch of pool products on that same page. You want to have a narrow focus so that you don't confuse the customer as to what you want them to do. Your very important attributes. So again, this is like your USP. Effective headline, that pulls them in. Resolution savvy layout. This is just responsive design. Tidy visuals, make it clean. Don't have a very cluttered website. Again, you want to make it as easy as possible for a potential customer. And last is social proof. This comes from reviews, testimonials, videos. When a user comes to your site, they want to see that these other people that had very similar problems as them, you were able to find solutions for those problems, right? So when somebody comes to your website and they see, oh, look at all of these people who have the same problem that I do, and this service or this product solved that, so they're more apt to actually purchase your service or products. So next we're going to talk about Google advertising and generating paid traffic and increasing your leads. So we've got a great website now. It's time to market it. So what is Google advertising and when should you use it? So Google advertising is a way to get your website at the top of Google search results page. You can think of it as an auction, where the person with the highest bid will show up the highest on the page, therefore are more likely to get that person to their website, which could turn into a lead or a paying customer. So this is perfect for service-based businesses as you want to get your website in front of customers who are actively searching for services you can provide. Google advertising is the fastest way to start generating traffic to your website and increase your lead generation. And you should start an ad campaign, as soon as you possibly can. A lot of small business owners try and fail to do it themselves. That's because running a successful ad campaign is much more in-depth than just typing up a copy for the ad and letting Google, have its way with it. The worst thing that you can do for an ad campaign at the start is to let Google run it. It'll just chew through your budget and you'll be left high and dry. So in order to get the most out of a Google ad campaign, it's best to hire an agency like us to manage it. And so I just want to talk about our process so you can get an idea of what all goes into it. So phase one is initialize and collect data. So the first phase of a campaign is to collect as much data as possible. From this data, we'll be able to extrapolate just how much it costs to be on the first page, how much the average cost per click is, and it'll show us which keywords are performing well and which ones we need to get rid of. Good campaign management is constantly checking the data and refining to eliminate low-performing keywords and increasing spend on high-performing keywords. So during this phase, we set the bid type to a manual bid where we tell Google exactly how much we're willing to spend and we don't give any control to Google yet. So we want complete control over our campaign. Again, we don't want Google to take control over anything, because what we're trying to do is collect as much data as possible so that we can refine and eventually let Google take the reins a little bit. So phase 2 is enhanced cost per click and collecting more data. So this usually comes about a week or two into the campaign, and we should have a good amount of clicks on the ads, and we should have some conversions from the campaign. The major difference between phase 1 and phase 2 is the bid type. So for phase 2, we change it to enhanced cost per click, and enhanced CPC allows Google to adjust the bid amount based on the data it has on the person viewing the ad. So now we're kind of giving Google a little bit of control, but we're still in control of it completely. So for an example, if the person that is viewing your ad has a history of clicking on an ad and converting, it allows Google to increase the bid amount to place your ad higher on the page, increasing the chance that that person is going to click on your ad. And vice versa. It also lowers your bid amount when being viewed by somebody who clicks on ads but doesn't take action on a site. So this reduces the chance of getting a bad click and wasting money. But again, we can't get to this point, unless we've collected the data from the first phase. So phase 3 is automated bidding and collecting more data. So this usually comes about a month or two into the campaign, and we only move into phase 3 once we've gotten a good amount of conversions from the ad campaign. At this point, we change the bid type to what's called a target cost per action, or target CPA. And essentially, we're telling Google that we want to pay per action or per lead instead of paying per click. So because we already have a good amount of conversions, Google will be able to match our ad to people that are very likely to take action on our site. So again, we're telling Google we want to pay per lead now instead of paying per click. And again, we can't get to this point unless, until we've already collected all of the data from the previous 2 phases and we've gotten a good data set on the conversions that we do have. So phase 4 is advanced bid adjustments, and you guessed it, collecting more data. There's a common theme here. A Google advertising campaign can only be successful as you continuously collect data and analyze that data. So now that our ads are performing well, it's time to make more advanced tweak to your ad spend. So based on all the data gathered throughout the campaign, we can actually go in and adjust bid amounts depending on what type of device someone is using, what the time of day is, what day of the week it is, even down to specific neighborhoods. So if you're getting a lot of clientele from a specific neighborhood, you can actually go in there and increase your ad spend for that specific neighborhood to try and generate some more leads from there. And vice versa. If there's a few neighborhoods that are getting a lot of clicks but no actual conversions, you can reduce the ad spend there so that you're putting more money into places and items that are performing a lot better. So again, this allows us to increase the micro items that are performing well and decrease or stop spending on items that are not performing well. Phase 5 and the final phase is called a campaign splice. All right, so at this point, we should see very clearly a specific keyword that's performing well, a specific ad that's performing well, time of day, location, etc. These are kind of like the best of the best of every item. And what we can do is we can actually take these and move them into their own campaign. So this is now what we call a hyper optimized ad, aka your moneymaker, right? So this ad has been optimized over a few months. It's extremely well performing. So what we do is we move it into its own campaign, and then we can go even further into even more advanced bid adjustments and make some minor tweaks to continue to optimize that. While your main campaign is, we're trying to generate another hyper optimized ad. So this is the only time that we allow Google to have free reign over the ad and let its algorithm do its job. We needed all of the data from before to get to this point. So again, you can't just jump into having a hyper optimized ad, because that takes a lot of time and a lot of data to be collected in order to get to that point. So the goal of an advertising campaign is to get as many of these hyper optimized ads as possible. But again, it does take a few months to get to this point. So if just a word of caution, if you do want to try and do it yourself and you contact a Google ad rep, just know that these reps are salesmen and they're not Google ad experts, right? They know the basics, but usually they just run a smart campaign for you, which is the exact same platform that you would be using yourself, right? So they're going to work with you, but they only work with you to get you to spend more money on their platform. Now these Google ad reps are a lot different than the ad reps that are assigned to actual agencies. The ones that are assigned to agencies are the actual experts, right? But if you're a small business, you're just going to get a salesperson connected to your account to try and get you to spend more and more and more inside of Google. So it's if you're looking for somebody to manage your ad campaign, definitely go with an agency like us and don't rely on a Google ad rep. So next we're going to talk about Facebook advertising. This one's really, really short because it's got the same basics as the Google advertising. It's just what you're selling is a little bit different. So Facebook advertising is a way to get your brand or products directly in front of potential customers. So these are people that don't have the intent just yet, and you have to convince them that they want to buy what you are selling, right? So this is perfect for product-based businesses trying to sell products, or it's perfect for businesses that are looking to increase brand awareness and looking to engage with your customers. Facebook advertising should not be used to try and generate leads for a service-based business. You can still get leads this way, but it's much less effective than Google advertising. And again, if you are a product-based business, then absolutely, you should be starting a Facebook ad campaign to advertise your products as soon as you can. And lastly, we're going to be talking about search engine optimization. And this really is where the bulk of your revenue is going to come from. So search engine optimization, generating organic traffic and dominating local competitors. So what is SEO? Right, so SEO is the process of continuously optimizing your website so that it ranks highly in search engines, increasing the amount of organic or free traffic to your website. So the difference with PPC or a Google advertising or Facebook advertising is that the only amount of traffic that you're going to be getting to your website is the traffic that you're paying for. So as soon as you stop running an ad campaign, all of your traffic dies. Whereas with SEO, because it's organic, it's natural, that is what's going to allow you to generate theoretically an infinite amount of traffic. There is no cap to the traffic. So and that's the reason why SEO is going to be your big revenue earner, but it does take time to work, and I'll get into that in just a minute. But there are hundreds of factors that go into your rank, which are nicely combined into three main categories. So we've got technical SEO, we have on-page SEO, and off-page SEO. So technical SEO, this category focuses on the back end of your website and how your pages are coded. So things like title tags, meta descriptions, structured data, server error codes, broken links. These are just some of the items of technical SEO that help search engines quickly load pages and understand the content of the page. So we use special tools at Mountain View Media to run technical audits on websites to find all of these errors so that we can go in and fix them all. Even a small 10-page website can have hundreds of technical errors hindering its search engine performance. So if you're interested in checking on the health of your website, again, feel free to contact us and we'd be more than happy to run a complimentary technical audit on your website. It's also included in our free consultations if you would like to do that as well. So the second category is on-page SEO, and this focuses on all of the content that exists on the page of a website. So things like, text, images, videos, keywords, internal and outbound links, the length of the content, these are all some of the items that make up on-page SEO and help Google figure out how good or how relevant the information on your page is to a search query. So every page should be focused on one single keyword, and you should never try to rank for more than one keyword per page. You should also never try to rank for the same keyword with multiple pages. It's not very efficient. Only one page from your website is going to rank for a specific keyword, unless it's something like your brand name. The average page that ranks #1 on Google has a word count of 1,800 words. So Google loves relevant content. They love trustworthy content. And trustworthiness is what the last category is. So off-page SEO. This focuses on all of the activity that takes place off the page or outside of your website when looking to optimize your website. So consisting mostly of inbound links, which are also known and more commonly known as backlinks. So this gets a little bit complicated, but the number of websites that link to you, the relevance of those websites, and the authority, are also known as the trustworthiness of those websites, affect how highly you rank for the keywords you're targeting. So by networking with the other sites, writing guest posts, getting backlinks from these websites, that's going to be the best way to improve your domain authority or your trustworthiness. So, Google's whole job as a search engine, #1 is to make money by advertising, but #2, it's to serve users with relevant and trustworthy information. So if you have a lot of other trustworthy sites talking about yours, Google sees your website as trustworthy. Right, and this is again what we call domain authority. So there is a rank that every website has. It goes from 0 to 100. 0 being not trustworthy at all, or a brand new website. 100 being Google itself. Your trustworthiness factor is going to determine where you sit against your competitors. So if you and your competitor both have the most optimized website you could possibly get, if your competitor has a higher domain authority or trustworthy rating, they will outrank you every time, 10 out of 10. So having a trustworthy website, increasing your domain authority higher than your competitors, that's what's going to get you to outrank them and to start generating that traffic. And another thing, is that it's not just enough to be on the first page of Google anymore. A few years ago, it was great to be on the first page, but really 70% of traffic from organic sources come from that first link. So you got to be the #1. Otherwise, it pretty much drops down by half every position that you go down. And eventually, there's an old saying out there that says, you could hide a dead body on the second page of Google just because nobody goes there. Right. So it's very important not only to just be on the front page, but you got to get into that #1 spot. And you can only do that, if your website is technically optimized, if the on-page content is optimized, and you've done a link building campaign to increase the authority or the trustworthiness of your website. So why does SEO work so well at generating leads? Right. Well, SEO targets intent-based customers. Right? It's very similar to Google advertising. So this means they're already searching for the services that you provide. You just need to get them to choose you over your competitor. So ranking #1 in Google organically through SEO also sends a subliminal message to the user that you're a very trustworthy source. They're going to think, wow, they're ranking #1 on Google, so they must be good. Right? So it's one thing to run an ad to get your website on the front, but everybody knows that ads are paid for. Right? So a lot of times people will actually scroll past the ads and go to the organic results because they feel that that is more of a trustworthy selection to choose from. So SEO is going to be, again, the bulk of your revenue generation. So what should you choose? Should you choose, Google advertising? Should you choose Facebook advertising? Should you choose SEO? Which road should you go down? And the ideal campaign includes a PPC campaign, which is pay-per-click advertising, and an SEO campaign, together. PPC is short term, whereas SEO is long term. So the PPC campaign will drive traffic to the website, while the SEO campaign increases your organic rank and slowly starts to increase the free traffic to your website. And what's cool about this is that once you rank number one through SEO for a specific keyword, you don't have to run ads for that keyword anymore because you essentially own that keyword. So now you can switch and start advertising for other keywords. And again, if you're number one in organically, you don't have to pay for people to come to your website. So you're going to be generating a lot of traffic through organic means as opposed to the PPC for that same keyword. And the last thing that I will leave on is what I like to call my orange tree analogy. So this is something that I came up with. I'm 7th, 8th generation Floridian, so my family tree goes way back here. And I remember, when I was a kid in the summertime, I would go over to my grandparents' house all the time. And, he had an orange tree and he had a grapefruit tree and a starfruit tree in his backyard. And I used to love going out there and just grabbing an orange off the tree and having it for a snack. So, you want to make orange juice every morning for your breakfast, but you need oranges in order to make it, right? So you plant a seed or a sapling in your backyard. The tree's not going to grow overnight and start producing oranges. So you have to go down to the market to buy your oranges. But in the meantime, you're still watering your tree, you're making compost piles, you're doing everything you can to nourish the tree so that it grows big and strong. Eventually that tree will blossom and start producing its own oranges. Well, now you don't have to go to the market to buy your oranges anymore. Right? So in this analogy, the tree is your website. The oranges are potential customers or leads. Going to the market is like running a PPC campaign, and nourishing the tree is an SEO campaign. So when we run an SEO campaign, we're nourishing your website. We're growing your website so that it ranks better organically. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for your website to grow, we have to run a PPC campaign to get that initial get the initial leads coming in, then the initial traffic coming in. So that concludes the presentation for today. I think I went over a couple minutes, but we should be okay. So thank you everybody for your time, and please don't forget to contact us for a free consultation.
Wow, my brain is like excited, full, like all sorts of ideas. Thank you so much, Jeremy.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I think the message through all of this is like everybody needs to hire Jane and Jeremy from Mountain View Media, because it's like that tech talk that, we kind of get it, but we really don't. Because you guys do a phenomenal job for your customers, and you really truly understand and know what is going to work for them once they come and do this consultation with you.
Thank you. Well, we enjoy what we do, and we really want to make sure that, our customers are happy. And, so we work hard with them and meet with them every month and sometimes more, and make sure, we're doing what we can do to help them. So, but I just want to say thank you so much, Brittany, for allowing us to do this today. We love the Senior Blue Book. So
thank you so much. Well, it's a privilege to have you both and have your brains, your tech brains on board with us. We're excited to have you as a partner. And I can't stress this enough for those that are watching. This is everything that they just gave you was such insightful information and to help grow your business. And right now, more than ever, internet marketing, branding, SEO, all these key terms are so important to all of our businesses. So please reach out to Jane and Jeremy. They are offering a free consultation to check I love this, the health of your website. Check its pulse, its vital signs. And again, they're doing that you said for free. It's an hour consultation to do that. So I think no matter what, people should reach out. Jane, can you mention just the best number to reach out, phone number to reach out to?
Sure. The 941-417-2720. That's fine. And then also, through our website, mountainviewmedia.com, you can email directly, whatever works, whatever they feel comfortable with. So
perfect. And I've got to real quick here, I'll share my screen. And this is the website here, of course. So as Jane mentioned, mountainviewmedia.com. And I'm sure your guys' website is like the fanciest of fancy with all your information and knowledge. But this is amazing.
We rebuild ours every 3 years. So, you know, we're trying to stay on top of it as well. But, you know, again, we love what we do and we just, we're here to please. So sometimes, you know, it's not always possible, but we do the best we can and we work directly with our clients and make sure they understand what's happening. So I think that's the big thing with digital marketing is understanding where your dollars are going.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, I'll put all your information in the post to reach out to, your website, phone number. And thank you again so much, Jane and Jeremy, for all the information. We appreciate you and hope you have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you.